Hello everyone, how are you today? This is Nancy Lynn from Sew Euphoria, and I am here today with hashtag Roxysjournalofstitchery, working on prompt 6, which is the Nutcracker. And this is my red page, and I decided I would come in. I've done quite a bit on there. I've gone around and outlined all of these. I've kept the same coloring that I did with the gel pens, but I've gone in and added some extras. I've completely sewn over here, used some embroidery floss over here. I've outlined all around. I just wanted him to come stand out. I've outlined her a little bit, and then I've gone in and done some stitching to make some pine stalks. I'm gonna do some more over here, so I figured I would take you guys around to see how I'm making these. Hopefully everyone is doing well out there. Now to do the stems, I am just using pearl cotton, and I don't know who this is by. It's a size 5. grams, but it doesn't say who it's by. It might, but I don't see it on there. And all I'm doing for I'm building the stalk first, and I'm doing kind of a back stitch. And coming back in, and I am hoping I'm in camera. I just felt like it needed something on the corners here a little bit. So I'm doing this. Hopefully everyone is staying busy, working on their projects. I've seen so many gorgeous ones out there that people are working on. And I don't want this super big because I'm thinking about putting some lace around here, and so I'm going to maybe come out with another one here. I could travel down here and go all the way up, but I decided the shorter distance was maybe going across and going back in. So I apologize for my last video. I just could not get it going correctly, and I don't know what was going on with my camera. And then when I finally did get it going, it just you know, it's one of those things that it just doesn't seem want to come together. And I wanted to thank everyone for the nice comments that you guys have made. I really appreciate them. It helps keep me going. Especially when you have some naysayers out there that, you know, don't, you know, I love to share what I'm doing with you guys, and hopefully it inspires you to go on and do something else. You know, I don't get paid to do this. I do this on my own. I am not a good videographer. I am trying to learn as I go along, but you know, and all I can say is that if you don't like my videography, I'd hate to see you go, but you know, it's not everybody, it does not like the same cup of tea. And I enjoy this. I love stitching. I love sharing my joy of stitching with you guys. I actually came in a little low with that. It's alright, we'll work with it. And I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'm, like I said, and thank you for the comments. The comments really keep me going. I was kind of disheartened. I had gotten a few comments that were, but like I said, I am not a pro at this. I wish I was. I wish I had someone that could help me with this. As far as developing the things, but all I can do is do this, and hopefully inspire you to try. Now you can see all the stitching that's going on here. I'll show my back off. It is a lot of stitching, which I like a lot of stitch. I just enjoy the process of stitching. I just talked with my friend Sherry, who's up in Indiana, and she's not a big hand quilter. She likes to do, she has one of those great big quilting machines, and she likes doing that. But it was fun catching up with her. Now, I'm thinking I might do a couple coming here just to give a reference, you know, power of 3. And I'm gonna put some lace around this one, I think, also. And if you guys want, and if you're tuning in for the first time here, this is, we are making either a book or a banner or whatever you feel like making with it. You get 2 prompts a month. And then some elements to do. I have not incorporated my elements. The elements this month is a mushroom so far. And I don't know. I ended up putting some candy canes here. I thought I might do some mushrooms, but I didn't. But like I said, if you're new to this, and you know, feel free to ask questions. Because that's what it's all about. This whole community is about sharing our love for stitching, and it's nothing, you know, and stitching is not for everyone. Everyone does not like that. Some like the machine. I enjoy working on the machine. I especially enjoy it since I got my machine working, and it's working well. Can't wait to get into making some more of my art quilts. I had kind of gotten away from them because, sorry, that was my phone. My machine was not free motion quilting well at all. Really, since I had gotten it, it just always, when you're quilting, you like a nice flat stitch, but it would leave these loop-de-loops and all these, it just, the tension was never ever right. And when I brought it in, the guy that fixed it said, Nance, you don't have the right part to this machine to do the free motion quilting. I was like, well, that answers a lot of questions. And so for $26, I got a part, and now it does it beautifully every single time. No problems whatsoever. I'm going to end that and put in another one afterwards because I want to show you guys what. Alright, so I've put my stems in. Sorry if I switch. I'm just trying to get you guys all this information, and sometimes I switch tracks. I think that's my ADD. Whoop, there she goes. She saw a squirrel. Okay, so now, and I did thread some of my needles first. Now this is some mercerized cotton, some this says it's 3 cords. It's a size 20. Gem is the brand on it, and it's a green, it's like a crochet cotton, but it's a thinner one. And what I have done with these is I have gone over with the darker color and then come back with the lighter color just to give it a little sheen. And I just started at the bottom. I'll do this middle one first. And I'm coming out a little bit and then coming in at a slighter angle. Oh, got my needle. And then coming out again. And I'm leaving some space in between, and I'm not going through my branch. I'm just coming right up next to it. Sometimes I go into it, but I'm trying to leave the branch so that you can see that there is a branch there. and then I'm going up and coming back in, and there's going to be 2 different colors, so that's why I don't want them so super tight. The next color will finish bringing them in, and I'm coming in and I'm hoping I'm in camera. I'm looking to check. I don't want to travel too far up because I'll be out of camera. And then this last one I'm going to do, I do 3 at the top, you know, because you know how the pine has the little like bush at the top of it. It's got like 3 or 4 or 5. And then, I don't know for you guys, do you have the same thing? One side is so much easier for me to do than the other. I'm better coming one way than I am the other. And I'm, like I said, I'm just coming up and then coming down at an angle. And then that way, I know I'm chatty today. So, hopefully we've got fall is here finally. You couldn't tell it here. It's 90 degrees again today. 90 with the real feel of like 101. And then we've got a hurricane brewing out there. And it looks like I'm here in Pensacola, Florida, and it looks like we might not get hit with this one. I hate it for the people towards Tallahassee and Apalachicola. It kind of looks like it's going to go that way, and we had a storm several years ago named Michael, and it was awful, devastating for them. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember it, but there were like no houses left in areas, and just and my niece had just gone to a church there as a minister, as she had just gotten there when the hurricane hit, and so that was really a challenge, you know, with all these people, you know, their lives had been destroyed, and here she is, but you know, she was a blessing to them and they loved her, and you know, she was at the right place at the right time. And I'm afraid I'm hoping, I don't want to wish them well. You know, you don't want it to come here, but then you know it's going to go hit somebody else. So I don't wish ill on anyone. I'm hoping it comes in. It's really confusing when you get a hurricane, you know, until it gets closer, because they're guessing. You know, they don't know for sure which way it's going or how it's going to come in, and I hear some people say, oh, it might come in at a Cat 5, well, and then others are saying, no, a Cat 1. Well, I'm hoping for the Cat 1 for everybody, because Cat 1's kind of like it's got wind, sustained, but it's like a storm, you know, like a real heavy rainstorm. Some of you guys up north get much worse, you know, you got the snowstorms coming up and all the rest of that, and here we are, you know, at the heat of our hurricane. We've been really fortunate this year. We really haven't had a lot of storms come into the Gulf at all, which is really unusual. Usually we get some that come up and die down, but we haven't this year, so we've been blessed. They say count your blessings. I sure do. But that's all I'm doing with this is, and as soon as I get this one done, I'm going to switch over to the other color, and you'll see how it, oh, there's a loop right there. one of my stitches was still sticking up a little, so I had to go back and I think I'm a little close. I'm not even going to finish this side, I don't think, because once I put a piece of lace on here, it's going to block some of that off. So I'm going to tie this. We'll cut our thread. And now what I'm going to do is switch to this green, and you can see one is a darker and one's a lighter. This is a little more matte, and this has got a little more sheen, and so that picks up the light differently. And this is an ONT by Clark's, and this one is a pearl cotton. I wish I knew what size this needle was. It was in a bag of needles that I had. And it's my favorite one for working with the pearl cottons and the crochet cotton. It just has a nice tip on it. It's a little bit shorter. Goes through the fabric fairly well. Do you guys have a favorite one out there that you use? Would love to know, because that seems to be finding one. Now what I'm going to do is go above the one that I did before, doing the same process, coming up. You know what? Hold on one second, guys. Sorry for my chair roll. I have another light, and I'm going to turn that on. Oh yeah, there we go. Now maybe I can see what I'm doing. I forgot to turn my new ring light on. Not used to. Oh yeah, now I can see what I'm doing. I'm not in the dark. But I'm just going and using my other stitches as a guide. And coming up in between. Oh, I should have grabbed my thimbles. Guess I'm a lazy stitcher. I love to come back up on top. Sometimes I'll have to go down the bottom and pull it back up, but I like it when a stitch will let me come back on top and not have to deal with the bottom of it. Are you guys like that? Do you like to? I know some people will do a stitch, pull it through, and then come back with another stitch and pull it through. But I like to be able to push mine through and pull it back up. Now, I don't know if you can see the difference between this one that I just did. Of course, these are more sparse, but you can see the shade difference, and the light picks up on the pearl cotton a little more than it does on the crocheted cotton, and so it just gives it that little bit of a sparkle. And so I'm going to finish out. I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me do all of these, but I might finish up just this one corner. See, and that's why I don't like to go on the bottom, because I'm bad about, if I'm not on the top, I, make that little loop around it sometimes. I don't know, I was watching, was it Sonia Step? Oh, or was it? It was one of them the other day that I was watching, and she was doing the same thing, and she said, oh, I went over the edge, but that's okay. I can handle it on this project. And that ends up happening a lot when your stitching is, You don't mean to, but you pick it up. Most of the time you can't just leave it. You gotta go back and do. So, and I'm learning. I don't know, guys. Are my videos too long? I watch the watch time on them. You know, YouTube is great because it gives you all these stats and numbers, which are awesome. But at the same time, I think it makes you worry about stuff, and maybe that's a good thing, so that you maybe keep trying to improve with your videos. But I love to watch the videos through to watch how people are doing things, and I'm gathering that's not happening. I don't know. You guys tell me. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to show you what I do and how I do it, and like I said, and hopefully to inspire you to go out and create and maybe try some of this stuff. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's so complicated, and I know, but really when you sit down to it, all it is just a simple in and out. In the fabric, out of the fabric. And just letting your mind flow and be creative. And have fun with it. And if you're not having fun with it, go do something else, because life is too short not to be happy with what you're doing. Alright, now let's pull this through. Tie knots, and then I'll show you what that part of it looks like. Now my camera might cut off. I might have to do a timer so it doesn't cut off, but if it does, I will bring it back so you know what's going on. But that is the stitch there. I'm hoping you can see that. But it makes a pretty stitch, and it's just using the 3 different colors, the brown for the stem and then the 2 greens. I like the variant of the green, and I like having this on the corners because it was looking kind of freaky to me with all the stuff coming out of the Nutcracker. And I still have to go through like with the white on the candy canes. I think I had gotten some tulle or netting, and I was playing with it because I really wanted to kind of 3D her skirt a little more, but I don't know that it adds that much to it, so I'm going to play with that and see. And I also brought out some lace because I am going to put, I think that top part just needs a little something, and I think I'm going to put that there. And then I've got some more of the little green sprigs going, and I'm going to put some little sticks on here for the lollipops, and then I think this one will be just about to where I can call it done. Now I have the other one that I'm working on, the green set, and now this one is the ballerina, or it's the little girl. Is her name Emily in the Nutcracker? I can't remember. I have not worked on the little Nutcracker yet that she's holding. I have worked on her. I've done her hair with a variegated thread. The tree I went through, and I had this little teeny tiny, I don't see it now, this real tiny rickrack, which I thought went well with that. And I'm going to do some beading on the tree. On her dress, it's still the same one that I used the gel pens for, but I had this tiny little notion, some trim, and it had the pink and a little bit of blue, and I thought it just added a little dimension to her skirt. The toe shoes I've gone through and I've embroidered over them, and I've got the star on here. And the star, I think I'm just going to do a blanket stitch around it. Around her dress, I did a whip stitch all the way around it just to hold it down. I just don't, and on the arms, oops, that's what I didn't end up showing you. Let me show you on the other one. I've done this one, and I did a little whip stitch over the top of her arms. I just felt, in the legs, I just felt a little more secure holding this on here. You know, this is a wool blend fabric, and I don't know how the glue is going to adhere to it, and I whip stitched around all of these others and then went and did an outline stitch around them. Same thing with this guy, whip stitched all the way around him and then did outline and brought it through. You know, he's kind of a cartoon character, and I wanted to bring him out more, and I think the black adds that more graphic texture to it. You know, they're toys, and so that was that. But this one is on here, and I am going to sew on a couple of the beads. I'm using a Gutterman polyester thread, and I think I have a smaller needle up here. Nope. There it is. And thank you. I've got to look back and see who the lady was that told me. You know, I've sewn all my life, and I never knew, and I don't know why I didn't think about it, because it makes sense, that your needle is different on both sides when they process it, and one side is easier to thread than the other. And since she told me that, it's been a big help. Thank you. Because if I'm having trouble with the one side, especially these are the John James needles, and they're more pronounced in the head of it, and they do seem to have a definite one side that's better than the other one. And I think, now see on the tree, it also, I did the two colored variegated like I did on the little pine needles on that other one. You know, I did the dark green fabric, then the dark green crochet thread, and then I have a little, and then the lighter green, and it just gives it that shimmer to it. Now I've got my little bowl of just wanted to put a little bling on here, not much, but I like to sew my beads down twice because it pulls it down and you don't see the hole, you see more of the whole bead. Plus it's more secure so that, you know, it's not, and I'll do a couple of these and then tie a knot. I just think it's more secure. You can do one time. You know, this is not going to be washed. It's not going to be handled a lot. It's going to be in a book most of the year. But the security is probably not as... Now let's see, what else? I have been busy lately. I've made... Yesterday I worked on doing a lot of my volunteer work. We make placemats for Meals on Wheels. At Christmas they give out, you know, people who maybe don't get a gift, and that's one gift that they do get. So I was working on those. We also make pillowcases for... Okay, yeah, I kicked off, guys. So I actually went with 3 with this, and I'm gonna just tie a knot just to secure it, just in case something happens. At least not all of them will fall off. But I was telling you, yeah, and we do pillowcases for the foster children, or our house that does that here in Pensacola. We do, you know, quilts for veterans. we had a big group sew, and we got, I think, 11 quilts done for local veterans. So there's a lot going on. Tried to get all of those done. I also had a quilt that I think I told you that I can't show you yet, but I will as soon as it's bright, it's colorful. And then we also, I've got a couple more left to do to finish. So I'm really happy with my machine. I had gotten where I was doing just mainly hand sewing all the time, just because my machine was being so terrible, but it is working like a dream now, which is hard because now I'm like, okay, it's like a new thing. I'm like, oh, I want to go back and sew, but I also love to do my hand sewing and want to do this and get it done. So I know that's why I'm rushing to kind of get these done this time, so that I have a little time to sew. Now, this is one thing I don't recommend you using. Oh, so crazy. I couldn't find my batting. I thought I had come to the end of it, and I didn't realize that I had another roll of batting, which I'm glad I did. And I had a roll of polyester. And polyester is very easy to needle through, but it does a thing which is called beading and bearding, not beading, bearding, and it pulls through. And a lot of times, now this one's been so tightly sewn now that it might come up every once in a while, but it's when, I don't know if you know, when you pull the needle through the batting and you're coming back up and the white poof of the batting comes through, and you're like, oh no, because it's hard to get rid of. And this one did it. And it was because I used the polyester batting. The cotton or the wool does not beard as much as the other one does, but I am one of our, for the Red Hens, one of our things coming up is going to be an ugly sweater challenge, but you have to make a ornament of an ugly sweater. So that ought to be interesting. Something I've never done before. Now see, I'm sitting here talking to you guys and I have not tied a knot again. So I'm gonna have to tie one this time. Okay, and then on the star, I think both of these I'm going to put lace around them. And you got to watch it because this does fold up and catch in your stitches. Do not use polyester batting. Avoid it at all. Just going to start my first stitch. I'm going to make sure that stays down. And then I'm just going to go around and do a blanket stitch. Now, and I do not have my back pieces on here. You know, I will, when I go to start, once I get this done, I will probably start putting it on pretty, once I work on this guy. And I've got to go around her arms doing the overlap stitching. And this one, I think they'll pretty well hold because of all the stitching in the shoes and the toe shoes. But that, and we're going to do this, and I'll probably put some little, like little lines coming from it as a shining star. And then I'm not gonna, I pulled this out, but I think it's really too small to put that around the edges because it did have a little sparkle to it. But it's silver. And we might, but I wanted something kind of slim so it wasn't overpowering, but enough to do that. And so that might be it. So that's these two. I have not started on my beach one yet. I had one lady comment, she said, I can't wait to see if you're going to do the dolphin with the tutu. And I really kind of like that idea, something off the wall. So we'll see. Probably on my next video, I will have some of that laid out. So maybe that will be what the next video is about. But I hope this inspires you to go out and just pick up some fabric and start sewing. And it's just so peaceful, and tune in to some of the other ladies that are doing this because they're doing such an awesome job. Visit Rachel and Sarah. They're such good sponsors for this. They are doing an awesome job. I don't know. I started to, I did not read the whole thing yesterday, but I saw if some of you are having a problem. So I don't know if some people have had a problem with this prompt this time. It's a little more finicky than some of the other ones, you know, because the Nutcracker has so many spots. But like I said, go for a cartoony one. You know, if you're not wanting to do a whole bunch of little things, make it on one piece and then color it in and go with it from there. So that way you don't have to do all those little itty bitty little pieces if you don't want to. Have a blessed day. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. This is Nancy saying bye.